Wagwan, everyone, back again. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to my match reaction. This is my first match reaction up on this channel. Wagwan, everyone. I've got my playing it back again. Well. Sorry, apologies for that. Just trying to check up on the stream here. But before I get into this video, before I get into my match reaction on the Arsenal-Chelsea game, thank you. As you can see in the ticker right down below, just coming by. Thank you for 100 subs. Thank you so much, people. We're on 105 subscribers right now. It's been a big day, an emotional day. We started off with a spontaneous stream, Southampton, Manchester United in that 1-1 draw. I thought, may as well, why not? I'm in the house all day, and I was going to watch the games. So may as well just join with you guys, watch it. And yeah, I had a lot of interaction in that one. Thank you to the people that came. And then the Arsenal versus Chelsea watch along, we had a lot of interaction in there as well. Thank you so much for the people that liked and shared it and watched the video. Anyone who's here now, thank you for it. And if you do enjoy this video, leave a like, comment what your thoughts are on the video, on the game below, and subscribe for more. So we're going to get into the game now. Arsenal versus Chelsea. Let me share my screen for you. Sorry. Arsenal versus Chelsea ended up in a 2-0 defeat for the Gunners. Here we see Chelsea took the lead in the 15th minute with Romelu Lukaku, then added 20 minutes later with Reece James. Yeah, it wasn't a great game for the Gunners. If any of you watched it, we were outclassed. It was men against boys. You name all the football cliches there is. The game was dominated by Chelsea, and if we can have a look here in the stats, and the possession stats kind of tell you the story of the game. 64% possession for the visitors at home. Arsenal, with that amount of possession, that's how you know this isn't what we usually expect to see from the Gunners. If you've been an Arsenal fan for however long, for how many years, you would have known that all of our game is based upon possession. Even in games where we've been battered, it's usually a lot higher than that, where we've clearly not been the better side, where we've experienced horror games, and unless we've come up against a prime Bayern Munich or Barcelona. But here, that 35%, yeah, it says a lot. But what makes it even worse is those 22 shots. It kind of reminds me of a game where we played against Watford at Vicarage Road under Unai Emery, where we just came under siege, plenty of shots raining in at our goal. There wasn't... Chelsea could have definitely won by more than 2 goals. But other than that, there was mainly pop shots. Chelsea definitely looked the most dangerous team. In the first half, we couldn't deal with how they set up the strategy from Arteta. But before I get into the strategy of Arteta, I'm going to bring you some tactics right here. I've created a little tactics board. So this is the formation that Arsenal set up in. It was a 4-2. So 4-2-3. And then you'd see Saka and Pepe here. And then one up top with just Martinelli. I think that was the first mistake from Arteta. And we saw it in the first 2 goals as well, in the first half especially. We played with the 2 at the back, with Pablo Mari and Rob Holding up against Romelu Lukaku. So, for example, what we saw for most of the game, Romelu Lukaku picking up the ball in this position here. Smith Rowe would usually press with Martinelli and make it a 2. So if we brought them higher up into the box, say Chelsea have the ball in this position, let's bring that ball here. Say if Mendy picked up the ball, Arsenal players would squeeze up. You'd see Smith Rowe come here. Pepe would drop inside in picking up that half space. Lokonga and Xhaka would try and 1v1 man up against the fullbacks. Let's bring everyone higher up here. Let's just make sure. So if this is what we saw, Chelsea would pick up the ball in their third or the middle third. Yeah, this is how the game was set up, and this was the problem for me. The 2 at the back allowed Chelsea to overload these wide areas. Martinelli would try and press the ball in this position here, and the ball would just get pinged out. Mendy had the extra man all the time. Tierney wouldn't be wide enough, and if he was tighter to James, then Mendy would just play the long ball, and Lukaku, whether he was on Mari or Holding, he would just completely bully the Arsenal defenders. And I'm going to bring it back to the first goal here. The first goal that we saw for Chelsea. So Arsenal were in a compact formation at the back. The ball was in the middle third of the pitch. I'm just going to try and quickly sort out here. Don't worry about the attackers where they are. This is what we saw. But mainly, Bukayo Saka was in this position, in a more central position. Whereas when we saw at Stamford Bridge last season, when we played with the three at the back, that's what allowed us to really match up against Chelsea so that their wing backs wouldn't cause trouble. But as the ball was in this position, I'm going to quickly move it over here. The ball was in this position. It was Mason Mount who was on the left, actually. So let me quickly, who was on the right, quickly sort that over here. Kovacic picked up the ball. He quickly sprayed it out to the right where Saka, the man, was in big trouble here. He was too busy in this central position. Sorry, guys, it looks a bit of a mess, but just like Arsenal's defence in this game. Tierney was too far over. He was too busy worrying about Mason Mount. Lukaku was drifting in these areas, and these two centre-backs. Mari was trying to mark him. Rob Holding was trying to watch this half space here to stop Marcus Alonso coming. But the ball was switched over. Lukaku got goal side of Pablo Mari. Pablo Mari doesn't have the legs or the strength to get back. And Reece James comes across, plays the ball across there, and Lukaku taps it into an empty net. And that's what we consistently kept seeing throughout the first half in that same position. Ball getting switched out to Reece James. The exact same happened for his goal there. And that it was a common theme of the first half, especially as Saka wasn't defensively aware. What we expect from Bukayo Saka, we expect a much better awareness from him. He has played at left back under Mikel Arteta, which is where he made his breakthrough as well under Unai Emery. But in this game, the men against boys, we lacked the concentration, which is what you expect from these young players. You've got to remember, Saka is still a very young man. And yes, he's got a lot of experience already. But these are the types of games where he's going to learn. If we have a look at the Arsenal squad here, if we just, let me just get over to the lineups quickly. Sorry. So yeah, we looked Bern Leno, Kieran Tierney, the defense right here. Wait there. Sorry. Let me share the screen. The defenders right here. You won't be seeing this. This back three, especially of Holding, Cedric Suarez and Pablo Mari. They're not Arsenal starting back three. From our best players selected, I expect to see White, who was unwell, who had to drop out of this game with COVID. So that's another COVID issue at the club. I'd expect to see White and Gabriel when he's fit, and then Arsenal looking at a right back. In this game, Mikel Arteta went to go with Cedric Suarez. I understand why. He's got a bit more athleticism than Callum Chambers. So I understand that one with Chelsea's fluid front three, where they caused Arsenal major problems in midfield. We saw Bukayo Saka out to that left-hand side with Emile Smith Rowe in the 10 position, Pepe on the right, Sambi Lokonga and Xhaka partnering each other in the middle, which is where Chelsea overpowered us, by the way. And not just overpowered us, actually, because Kovacic and Jorginho aren't the most powerful midfielders, but the experience, the quality showed, really, and in that matchup in the middle. And the overload on the wings from Chelsea. As I said, let's bring it back to this tactic board. The overload and the width that they were able to provide, especially from that right-hand side, Chelsea were causing Arsenal major issues. So if we bring it up here, let's move the players up slightly. It's as if Chelsea are attacking. You'd see Azpilicueta pick up this space. Rudiger and Azpilicueta were easily watching this game. They had no problems, really. And when they did have problems, it usually tended to come from Chelsea's own downfall. So, yeah, I'm moving slow on this one, just kind of like Arsenal were in transition. But, yeah, when Chelsea were having the ball in this third of the pitch, let me try and see if I can get any lines. See if I can get any lines going. Sorry. No, can't get that working. Apologies for that. but I'll get used to this as I do it a lot more. But as Chelsea were in the middle third of the pitch in this, and there we go, can't do it, sorry. Chelsea were in the middle third of the pitch. Arsenal were too compact. Saka was too far inside. He needed to watch the fullback there. If we played that 5 at the back, that's what this would have allowed. You could have played Cedric Suarez at right wing back. You could have had a front 3 where you can shift Emile Smith-Rowe out to the left, Pepe out on the right, Martinelli, who was isolated anyway, so it didn't really make much of a difference of him being in up front and having a number 10 near him, because there was too much reliance on the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe. Saka and Pepe didn't have the greatest game either, as we've talking about from Saka. I thought looked very rusty. He isn't fit enough. This is his first league start. He came off for Aubameyang. So yeah, there was a lot of teething problems in that Arsenal side, and they, as I said, men against boys. Kind of losing track of these things a little bit. Hold on, I need to get another one now. Here we go. I'm just trying to sort this out. Apologies. There we go. Here's the Word document that I need to get up. This is just my initial reaction. Arsenal in the second half, we did cause a few problems as well. We seemed to start off better in the second half with Bukayo Saka having a shot, which Mendy tipped over the bar. Our biggest chance came from Rob Holding, where the ball was whipped in. It was a corner deep into the box. Pablo Mari headed it across goal, and Rob Holding headed it and wide, and he should have scored. It was from a close range. Arsenal fans I expected that to hit the back of the net. I was disappointed, and that's what my biggest disappointment is with Rob Holding in his game. He isn't good enough in terms of his aerial ability. Yes, he's defensively good, but going the other way, he doesn't score enough goals for me. And for a centre-back, if you're a top-class centre-back, which we know Rob Holding isn't already, a top-class centre-back will score goals. John Terry, how many points did he win for Chelsea in his prime? Rob Holding and Pablo Mari weren't good enough for me. We also, but you know what? Being as I'm talking about the players, let's get into the player ratings. Apologies for that. Wrong window. Let's remove that and share the screen for you. Here we go. So let's get into this player ratings as I zoom in. For me, for Leno, I'm going to give Leno do you know what? Just for the save alone, I'll give Bernd Leno a 7. He didn't really have much to do apart from pick the ball out of the back of the net. And there was a fantastic save in the second half from Lukaku, the header from close range where he tips it up against the bar. This is kind of what we expect from Leno. This is what his best part of the game is. We know what Leno struggles in, and that's with distribution. And that's why we have bought the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, who was brought in to challenge Leno in that position. And for that specific aspect of his game as well, where he needs major improvement. And we've seen him for a long time now. Arteta's given him a lot of chances, so I don't really think he'll improve there. But shot stopping, Leno's always been solid. And for that reason, I'll give him a 7 for that, just for that. Let's say 6 is average and 7's just above. Cedric, average performance. You know what? Give him below average. He didn't offer anything going forward. He wasn't bad. He didn't get ripped apart. He was just average for me. Rob Holding, who was better out of the two, I'll give him an average performance. I'll say Cedric's below average. Holding, yeah, he didn't really have any. He struggled at the back, whereas anyone would with the likes of Pablo Mari. So let's give Pablo Mari a 2 in that game. Couldn't handle the physical presence of Romelu Lukaku, whether it was his back to goal when the ball was being played, when Lukaku had his back and holding off Mari, running the channels, he couldn't keep up. Mason Mount, I remember a specific occasion where he absolutely dusted Pablo Mari as well. Kieran Tierney, he struggled. Another injury for Arsenal, another frustrating one. I'm going to have to give him I thought he obviously he is always Arsenal's most dangerous player going forward with the system that we do play. So for that reason, I'll give him a 5. But the crosses into the box weren't good enough. He put a few decent ones where he was in the right areas, but no one was there. And for that reason, I'm going to give him a 5. Sambi Lokonga, who was one of Arsenal's better players in this game, but, one of the shining lights, just how he was against Brentford. For that reason, yeah, if I give him Leno 7, I'm going to have to give Sambi Lokonga. There was a specific point in the game where Aubameyang was on the pitch. Good, fair play to the lad for picking out the pass, for realising where it was. I mean, once you realise it, you have to execute it. He put way too much on it. The game, it was 2-0 anyway. It was a chance for Aubameyang to be one-on-one. Chelsea looked lopsided there. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Chelsea had a great game as a performance. It wasn't a top performance from Chelsea. I've seen better. And that was a big opportunity for Lokonga, but he's really impressing in an Arsenal shirt, given his age and experience and the fact that it's his first season. Granit Xhaka, I didn't think he was bad either, just similar to the Brentford game. He committed a lot of fouls. I think it was more towards frustration towards the end, as you do see with Granit Xhaka, has a bit of a temper. This is why, as a leader, he was the captain of today until Aubameyang came on. But he didn't really. I can't really blame Xhaka either. I just thought he was average. We know his limitations. We know what he brings to the team. He brought that bit of fight. He wasn't bad. We just got outclassed in the middle and overloaded out on wide positions mainly. Pepe, I've seen people give him quite a decent rating. For me, I'm giving him a 5. He's below average for me. From what we're expecting from Pepe now, after what we saw in last season towards the end, I really expect him to kick on this season. And so far, I know it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy Arsenal side at the moment, but I'm not too impressed with him. Yes, he looked dangerous. He did a few nice things, but I thought Rudiger had him pocketed quite well. If you're a Chelsea fan, Pepe, he has those little moments of flashes of brilliance, but then he got snuffed out every time. He's coming inside to that left foot. He's never going to use his right, and we don't have a right back that provides much of a threat out wide. If you watch Mo Salah in Liverpool, Mo Salah's never going to cut on his right foot, but because he has Trent on the outside, you still have to be careful, and you can't completely overload on the left, because if you do that, then Trent has got more space and more time to cross the ball if Salah does decide to play it to him. So with that, it makes it so much easier to defend Pepe, especially with 5 at the back. If you can get the wing back to come back to try and mark him, and the fullback's not going to be busting a gut. So just makes it a lot easier and more predictable for Pepe. And for that reason, I don't think it's entirely his fault, but for that reason, I'm going to give him a 5. Smith Rowe as well, I'm going to give him a 7. I know these are quite high ratings. I'm seeing 3 7s so far. These are high ratings for me for what I'd give. But yeah, I thought he looked positive, driving with the ball. I saw him skip past Kante as well when Kante came on the pitch. His strength of his game is a ball progressor, which is why I think he's better out wide than he is in the number 10. He does do a good job in the number 10, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the best creator. He doesn't have that eye for a pass to be playing into those half spaces or in between the centre backs or for an on-rushing striker. He's very good at driving the ball, playing nice little 1-2s, very Arsenal-esque type of player, Smith Rowe. So for that reason, and that's what we saw in this game. So for that reason, I'll give him a 7. For me, next one, Bukayo Saka. I love him. Got the name on the back of my shirt. Had a difficult game today. I'm going to be honest, though. I can't lie. For me, I'm giving Saka a 4. And it's not because of he wasn't a threat going forward. Saka always looks dangerous. I thought he should have won a penalty as well. By the way, that's definitely a penalty. I don't know how the referee isn't giving that VAR checked, but we know how they're trying to be this season. They're not trying to get VAR involved. But it's beyond belief how much of a penalty that is. And yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get that. And I'm not saying it would have made much difference to the game anyway, because Chelsea could have probably counter-attacked and scored even more. They didn't get out of second gear. So I'm not going to moan about that too much. But for the defensive lapses, especially in the first half, for the first goal, didn't pick up Reece James, wasn't wide enough. I saw Gary Neville blaming Kieran Tierney as well for the second goal, saying that he was coming inside a bit too much. He actually did have to watch Mason Mount, who was in the middle. If he left him there and was too busy focused on Reece James, then Mason Mount was right in a half space, being able to run at Pablo Mari. He was on skates all game anyway. And we saw in that same half, Pablo Mari getting absolutely twisted by Mason Mount. So I'm not blaming Tierney for that one, but for the 2 goals, Saka wasn't wide enough. And I think that's more of a tactical reason. I'll get onto Arteta after these player ratings. Martinelli, isolated, received no service, isolated throughout the whole game, pressed very well. Other than that, was quite poor. I was surprised to see Saka come off in an attacking sense because he provided more of a threat than Martinelli did for when Aubameyang came on. And Martinelli couldn't get in the game at all. He's really struggling. I'm not sure if he's quite fit at the moment. Oh, Tammy Abraham, sorry, I was just watching the Roma game there. I'm not sure if he's quite fit after the Olympics. He could be struggling with a bit of fatigue. But for that reason, I'm just going to give him a 5, didn't get involved. Aubameyang, when he came on, I thought it was okay. It was better than what we've seen in pre-season and towards the end. He did try. What we know Aubameyang's limitations and his quality as well. For that reason, being as its first game, I didn't think he looked too bad. He made some dangerous runs where he wasn't found. With Ødegaard coming into the team, I expect his runs to probably get found and picked out a lot more. So for that reason, I'm going to give Aubameyang a 6. Tavares came on, average. Same as well, 6. And then Balogun, I'm giving him a 5. He's not ready. We are really struggling in depth. The fact that we're bringing on Tavares and Balogun, and then when you see who Chelsea are bringing on, absolute joke. So as you see there, for Arsenal, the best performer, I'll give it to, you know what? Smith Rowe had it last game, so I'll just give it to Sambi Lokonga for this one. Smith Rowe and Sambi Lokonga, it doesn't really matter, really. We lost the game 2-0, was outclassed. For Chelsea, I'm going to give Mendy, didn't do much, 6. Reece James, man of the match, in my opinion. I'll give him a 9. Scholes got a goal and an assist. Can't really ask for more than that. Looked dangerous in the first half. Faded a bit towards the second. I don't think Chelsea came out in the second half and did anything spectacular. But the game was won by then. As soon as the second goal was scored, we knew Arsenal didn't have enough to barely even score 1. So for the second goal, no chance. And that was the dagger and that was the killer blow. Azpilicueta, it was solid, 7. I'll give all 3 centre-backs a 7, actually, apart from Rudiger. He gets an 8. I thought he shackled Pepe quite well. It's a resurgence for Antonio Rudiger to come back into the team. And from when Frank Lampard didn't deem him good enough for the squad. So now he's come back. He's Chelsea's best defender ever since he came back with Thomas Tuchel. He's really getting the best out of him. And he's got a manager that really understands him. In a 3 at the back formation, I think he suits it quite well because his pace and his power can really deal with the channels. And that's where Pepe struggled. Pepe a few times looked like he was about to spin him. Rudiger's pace brought him back, made slide tackles and everything. So Rudiger gets an 8 for me. Marcos Alonso didn't really do anything. I'm going to give him a 6. Didn't look a threat. Jorginho and Kovacic. Jorginho was the better out of the 2 for me. And that's where Arsenal couldn't really win the ball in the midfield off of them in the first half. We couldn't really do anything with the shape that was given. Kai Havertz, who started out on the left, didn't really cause too many problems. Had a chance where Mason Mount, half a chance really. Mason Mount played the ball over his head. As I said, the fact that I'm giving Chelsea, they've come here, they've come to the Emirates, they've dominated, and they've battered Arsenal. But the fact that I'm not giving it only 2 players got over a 7. So far, but Lukaku, he grabbed the goal, caused problems all day. Shearer, nice to see you, man. Thank you for joining the stream. Arteta out. I'll get into that. Literally, I'm going to do these player ratings and I'll get back into your comment right now. So Kante, I'm going to give Kante he came on, he won the ball a few times. Let's give him a 6. Ziyech, same there. And Werner. But now let's get back to what Shearer was saying, and that's the big question that Arsenal fans want to know as well. Sorry, let me moving my laptop around. So, am I Arteta out? Sam saying Arteta to stay. You know what? Arteta today, he got it wrong. Awfully wrong. Why didn't we match Chelsea with the 3 at the back? I do not know. Given the injuries, given the players we had, no fitness, players missing, we missed an attacking threat. Why didn't he make us solid? I understand why he's trying to do that, because he's not trying to tinker with the team too much. He's trying to progress further, progress forward. But when we're playing the champions of Europe, who Manchester City can't even do against, it's a problem. But let's see what Shearer's saying. Feel like it's time to go. People give Ollie slack, but come on, Arteta come from under Pep, didn't he? Should be doing better. And you know what? Wait there. We played better than last week against a more difficult team. Yeah, Sam, you are right in that one. I do agree. And you know what? You both brought out good points there. There's a little debate. I do incline to agree more with Sam. I'm not Arteta out. And my main reason is Arteta, the squad that he currently has, yes, it's a bit work in progress. This isn't the team that we saw get put out today. Let me quickly try and get that for you. The team we saw get put out today, that is not Arsenal's first 11. That is not the team that we will see for a majority of the season. I'll break this down for you, and you got to have some sympathy for Arteta. Burn Leno, we may see Aaron Ramsdale come in. Kieran Tierney, of course, picked up an injury. Let's hope that he's not going to suffer too much from that. These three in particular, Cedric, Rob Holding, Pablo Mari, you're not seeing them. I don't think you'll see them throughout. Hopefully Arsenal sign a right back. We are apparently interested in fixing that position. We're looking to spend more. But these two centre-backs, they're not starting. And against a team like Chelsea, it's hard to go against a team without your two centre-backs. With the likes, when they have Havertz, Mount and Lukaku fit, they've just spent 92 million on Lukaku. So it's one of them ones. I'm not excusing Pablo Mari and saying why he excusing saying, oh, you're not going to see much of you should, like, you can play like that. No, of course not. It was a shocking performance. And he's not been very good since the start of the season, in my opinion. And he's starting to get found out a little bit. He's a good squad player. And he's done well when he's played next to Rob Holding, when he played last season there. But against this type of quality, that's not going to cut it. This midfield as well, Granit Xhaka and Sambi Lokonga, Thomas Partey is going to walk straight back into that team. We'll see Thomas Partey right next to Xhaka throughout most of the season when Thomas Partey's fit. Pepe, Smith Rowe and Saka. I do think we'll see those three play games in particular, but Martin Odegaard, who he's just spent 30 million on, giving the number 8 shirt when he came in last season, he improved our performances. I think he'll be playing in the number 10. You'll see Smith Rowe shifted out to the left and Bukayo Saka out to the right. And that's where Bukayo Saka had a better end to the season last season. And then up front, we're not going to see Martinelli barely play up front. When he comes on, he'll be coming on the left as a left forward. That's his best position. We're going to have Aubameyang and Lacazette. Yes, they didn't have great seasons, but they are two of our biggest goal scorers. They are, even when they've both had poor seasons, who scores more goals than Alexander Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in the Arsenal squad? No one. Aubameyang's carried Arsenal for 2 seasons now. He had an off season last season. Lacazette had a better season, scored 13 goals in the league, I think, something like that. So if both of them can score 10 goals and we can grab goals from other positions like our wingers, Saka needs more, Smith Rowe, Pepe needs to chip in with a few more, Martinelli, we'll have more rotation on the bench as well because all those ain't going to start. And then Odegaard will need to chip in with a few goals. So for that reason, I'm not actually Arteta out. Yes, he's made plenty of mistakes. He has. And one of them today was not going with the 3 at the back, not matching Chelsea's formation player for player. So creating that solid base and then having the opportunity to score on a counter-attack or a set piece or a lucky goal. So Chelsea didn't have to get out of second gear for that reason. So for that, Shearer, I am Arteta in for now. Let's see what you're saying, Sam. A new person coming in has to extract the best out of the guys picked up by his predecessor who had a different strategy in mind. I strongly believe Arteta can deliver. Sam, I totally agree with you, mate. And I do think he's making mistakes. Let's play devil's advocate here. I'm going to offer you that other side to the game as well. He is making mistakes. He's consistently... not consistently, but he's learning. But he's a young manager at the end of the day. What manager doesn't make mistakes? Jurgen Klopp makes mistakes. Pep Guardiola does. We've seen it plenty of times. Pep Guardiola made mistakes last week. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made mistakes today. Thomas Tuchel's made mistakes. We beat Chelsea. We beat Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel as well. And the squad that he's given, I do think that when they're all fit, it depends on luck and everything like that. Because if we're trying to get the best out of these players that are on the pitch today, those players in an Arsenal shirt just aren't good enough. And with a manager like Arteta, you're going to need an experienced manager to manage those players. So for a one-off game, Shearer, I do agree that a better and more experienced manager, a better manager, would get better results out of these players and would be able to set up. But this is not the team that I expect Arsenal to have in 4 weeks' time. I don't expect Arsenal to be putting out this. I'll count how many players. I don't expect to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the first 11. I don't see that. That's more than half of the first 11. I think Arsenal fans, you'll see on social media, they do overreact. It is emotional. I understand the toxicity that is in the fan base that's been generated through the owners and the lack of, and not the lack of funding. I can't really say that anymore, but it's the mistakes, the constant mistakes that made, whether it's signings, managerial appointments, recruitment, not getting in the right people to recruit, lose and investing in the wrong players. So yeah, I can't use the funding one anymore, but it's just investing in the wrong people. But let me see what you're saying here, Shearer. I say you can give him half a season. Okay, you know what? Spot on. I'll give you that. I do think that if we are in a similar position, or if it's at the end, the middle part of last season, then I definitely agree. Then I will say Arteta has to go. I will say that now, and I'll be the first. I'm usually the last person to say a manager has to go because I always look at the players first. I do think players have to take more responsibility. When Arsenal lose, when a team loses, like for Manchester United, they didn't win today. Everybody looks at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. For me, yes, okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's made mistakes, of course, and everybody has to take responsibility. But if you looked at Manchester United's midfield today against a Southampton team that set themselves quite up, who do not have the same quality, but the midfield of Matic and Fred, those two are Southampton quality midfielders, especially now. And yes, you have Bruno, Pogba, Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford, all those players to come back. But right now, Manchester United's midfield isn't good enough. Look at Arsenal. Our defence isn't good enough. Our midfield isn't good enough. And our attackers, we literally have nothing that was good enough. So I could not expect Arsenal to come out and win this game. If we did grab anything, that's football. I wouldn't be singing and praising Arteta after that because I think that's hypocrisy. I don't think that's right. It would have been a smash and grab like we did last season when we won. That wasn't an Arteta masterclass. He just matched them and then we pounced off of their mistake. Let me see what you're saying here, Sam. Lukaku bulldozed us. City doesn't have anyone of the same strength. We shall come with at least a point next week. I saw sparks here and there. Do you know what, Sam? That's quite optimistic because I do think City will pose different problems. And the similar problem that City will pose is those overloading in the wide areas. As we saw against Norwich yesterday, Gabriel Jesus out on the right, playing those balls across the box. I do think we'll struggle with that, and I do think that we will lose for that reason. And it just depends on do I see progression with Arteta? Yeah, I do. We don't create enough chances, but I don't think that's because of Arteta. I think that's because of the players and the player profile that we currently have in the team. Who's going to create? Who's from a central position? We always keep going out wide to Tierney, to Pepe, to Saka, because that is literally all we have. Smith Rowe takes up the wide positions. He creates from wide a lot more. So I do agree with you in that way, Sam. But here in this comment, if you're right there, Sam, I'm going to give you a massive shout out, and I hope you are. I really do. Manchester has over dependence on Bruno. Spot on, man. They do, and they have an over dependence on Bruno to create. Whereas I think we will be similar in the likes of Erdegaard. We will have to over rely on him to create for us. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here, guys, because I've had a long day of streaming. I've probably waffled on a bit too long now, but yeah. Just as the key points, I'm just going to summarize this video. Outclassed. Let me get full screen for this. Apologies. Outclassed. We were outclassed by a better team, a much better team than Arsenal today. a much better team than Arsenal in general, who are expected to win the title. We're not. Arteta, I'm not Arteta out yet. I'm being realistic. This is the team that we have. 3 streams today, man. You spoiled us. Be ready for the shout out. I'm hearing that. I liked hearing he was up against some world-class players. Yeah, true. Yeah, you are right. And in this side where I didn't think it was his fault for the goals, by the way, whereas Gary Neville was saying, I thought that was more to do with Saka. But back to what I was saying, yeah, and that's where it is. I'm not Arteta out yet, but we do need to get our players back fit. Hopefully Tierney's not out for long. Hopefully Martinelli isn't either. Those are 2 injuries we picked up. And hopefully COVID will stop affecting our team and stop affecting our lineups on the day of a game. Not the best preparations. I'm not making excuses, but it is how it is. It is what it is. And yeah, we weren't expected to win, even with a full strength team. And given the circumstances, I know Chelsea had Christian Pulisic, but look at the depth that they have. It's a joke. Yeah, we don't have that depth in those positions, in those attacking areas. So Arsenal fans, relax. It was not as doom and gloom as we see. Yes, we're not used to seeing Arsenal perform this poorly and getting battered at home and dominated by a team in second gear. But we did try. I know it seemed ridiculous for me saying this, and we're a Premier League team and we are the Arsenal, but our players did work hard and they did actually fight, and you can see that they do that for Arteta. Tammy Abrahams just hit the bar from like 6 yards out. Well, I'm going to end it here, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Shearer. Thank you, Sam, for getting involved. I'm going to dip off now. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you enjoy your Sunday night. And yes, hope for a better week. And I'll be coming with a new video tomorrow of a whole reaction to the weekend. So if you guys are watching this now or watching it after the stream, stay recorded. Have your post notifications on. You can tell I'm getting tired. I'm losing it now. So yeah, post notifications on and look forward to seeing you then. Have a blessed night, bro. You take care, guys. Peace.